I've owned this Canon EOS 60D since around 2010. And if I'm being honest, I've probably been shooting on the same settings for most of the time. The settings that someone else set up for me. I knew just enough to get by, and so I was comfortable. And even though later I bought better cameras and better lenses, I never actually learned anything. I think for a long time, I confused having the gear with learning the skill. And that's what this video is about. There's something called the Dunning Kruger effect. It's basically the idea that when you learn a little bit about something, your confidence spikes immediately. You feel as if you know exactly what you're doing, but then you learn more and you actually start to realize how much you didn't know. And that's where people mostly freeze. Confidence comes early, doubt comes later. Growth only comes if you push through that doubt. I've realized that this pattern has shown up all throughout my life, especially when it comes to cameras. This Canon from 2010 that's shooting a video of me right now makes me feel safe. I know how to turn it on. I know how to frame a shot. I know how to hit record. Then I bought the Sony a6400. New menus, new settings, different lenses, and instead of getting excited and learning all about it, I avoided it. I slipped into what naturally felt comfortable. I kept telling myself that I was waiting for the right time because I had too much going on, when in reality, I just didn't want to look bad in front of people, including myself. I had upgraded all my equipment. I just didn't upgrade my skill. I wanted to avoid looking bad while learning. And I think a lot of us do that. We buy things to validate ourselves instead of putting in the reps that we need to be better at the skill. I've done that a lot with working out. I still have some ways to go on my weight loss journey, but I could tell you in the past, I've bought every wristband, shoe, earphone, tracker, when really it's just about showing up and putting in the work. This isn't just about cameras. I've seen it in my music, I've seen it in my career, and most recently in my confidence. For music as an example, I spent years writing lyrics, getting more technical and strategic, to the point where I'd have to explain my punchlines afterwards. I knew what I was doing, but most people didn't feel it. That's where the imposter syndrome creeps in. You start thinking about what you don't know instead of using what you do know and continuing to build on that. That's a pretty terrible combination. Dunning Kruger, imposter syndrome. You really get stuck. Not knowing isn't the problem. Avoiding learning is. One of the main reasons I'm doing this series is to force myself to learn in public, to be uncomfortable, to make mistakes, to stop hiding behind what I already know. When I show up consistently, I actually start learning the camera. I learn editing, how to tell the actual story better. These videos aren't about perfection, they're about constant reps. Buying constant gear doesn't make me better. Using it badly until I learn will. If you're watching this and there's something you're putting off because you're not quite ready, that may be the very thing that you should be focusing on right now. Confidence usually shows up after you start, not before. I'm 3 videos in and I feel a lot more comfortable within just a couple of weeks. If you want, leave a comment and I'll do a deeper dive into the a6400, meaning a product review about the camera and why I like it and chose it. Let me know what you think about my series. I'm just gonna keep being consistent, starting Monday. This is episode 3. I'm Chris. Be comfortable being uncomfortable, and I'll see you guys next week.